What awaits Ethereum after the FTX collapse? 20-year trading veteran Gareth Soloway shares his insights and predictions of Ethereum price after the downfall of FTX in today's video. Gareth is looking forward to Ethereum as he is focused on the regulatory framework that we hopefully get this 2023. He is excited about the regulator, although he understands that there's a lot of people out there that feels nervous about it. He is still expecting a downside on Ethereum, but there are levels that he's keeping his eyes on. Let's take a look at the chart and see what we have and what we can see on Ethereum. For Gareth, he doesn't think that being a security changes much for Ethereum, aside from their transparency that has to increase substantially, which is a great thing. Yes, there are still downsides, but the end is already showing on the charts. Most probably, his target is 800 and will change. But if it goes lower, he would go for 600 and then change in 420. Let's hear more from him.
So what we can see is Ethereum on the positive side, it still hasn't taken out the June lows. So just looking at relative strength between Bitcoin and Ethereum, you would actually say Ethereum is stronger than Bitcoin because of that fact. Bitcoin's obviously pierced the the June 2022 lows. We haven't seen that on Ethereum. Having said that, if Bitcoin does continue lower, then you have to think Ethereum eventually will get dragged down. One of the key trend lines I'm watching on Ethereum is this one. Now look at how perfectly it matches to these highs, this high, and this high. So as long as we stay below that trend line, that's going to be a level that you have to be a little concerned about, that it's going to continue to push Ethereum lower. What I would say to investors is basically you have the low from June at around 885, 890. That's a level to watch. If you break that level, Ethereum has really no major support until it gets down to about $650. Now at 650, I start buying quite a bit of Ethereum. I won't buy everything, but I will start to basically dollar cost average in pretty aggressively down there, with maybe the potential that it could get down to the lower levels around 400 or so. But suffice it to say, I remain long-term extremely bullish on Ethereum. I don't think even being a security really changes much for Ethereum other than that their transparency will have to increase substantially, which I think is a great thing anyways. And so again, I think, yes, you're looking at some more downside, but the end is in sight on the charts.
Assuming we do go lower, the most likely next target for you is 800 and change. That's the most likely. And then if we keep going, it's the 600 and change in 420.
Yeah, there definitely will be buyers at that 885-ish level, because that was where Ethereum bounced from 885 back to 2000. So when you're trading, and basically charts are representations of human emotion, you're going to get a lot of people that are like, oh man, I remember when it bounced from 885 to 2000. I'm getting a chance. I missed it last time. I'm getting a chance to rebuy. So they're going to be buyers there. So you expect some sort of support, or at least a small bounce there. Eventually, if there's enough sellers, it will break that level. And then the next spot would be right around $650 on the chart.
Now, the FTX hacker converted the millions and millions of dollars of other cryptos into Ethereum, now one of the world's largest Ethereum whales. Does that uncertainty scare you?
Oh, man. I mean, first of all, this just another insult to injury in the whole FTX fiasco. Yes, I think it does, because the question is, again, at some point, does that person just say, hey, I got to get out? And it's all free money to them, right? They hacked it. They didn't really work for it. They didn't spend years accumulating it. So they're not going to be as careful when they dump it. So I think we do have to be aware of that. But for me, it would be a very short-term disruption, right? At some point, yes, you could see one of those big flushes if it did happen and that was the cause. And I think we would all kind of realize that that's probably what's going on. Then we would start, at least I would start nibbling and expecting a snapback. And that could be, honestly, that could be where the low is put in, maybe when that happens. But I certainly hope that the authorities can track down who this was and, hopefully return money to investors that lost.
Gareth, can I ask you to share one more different chart to put you on the spot a little bit, if your game?
Absolutely.
Could we look at the Bitcoin versus ETH chart and just look at, if you're just comparing those two assets, what's the better buy in terms of them fluctuating against each other?
All right, so let me just bring that up here. Let's get that on the chart. I will show you guys the chart here. Let me bring it up. So All right, first one, you have Bitcoin here, right? So Bitcoin here, and here's your ETH. And again, what's fascinating about this chart is you can see there's a lot of similarities. So you can see when you were at your highs over here and over here, basically double top. Here, ETH went a little bit higher, obviously, percentage-wise. You know, for me, I look at the relative strength, and I think right now ETH is showing more relative strength. The only thing, again, that concerns me about that would just be what we just discussed in regards to the hacker, and could that kind of throw a wrench in your investment thesis if they were to dump everything like that? And potentially that is a risk that you have to take into account. Again, for me right now, considering that ETH hasn't taken out those lows and Bitcoin has taken out the lows from June, I think you go with the one that's showing relative strength, and that's Ethereum in the near term.
Now, I would think of it as, damn, Bitcoin has held up a lot worse. I'm still bullish on both assets, but I would, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I would think, damn, Bitcoin's the better buy because Ethereum probably hasn't had that capitulation-like moment yet, as opposed to Bitcoin has had more sell pressure.
Yeah, so and in general, Ethereum is a bigger mover, right? Percentage-wise to the upside and the downside. So I understand where that comes from. It's just looking at these charts, what you look for is why hasn't Ethereum broken its June low? And the answer to that is, honestly, there hasn't been as many sellers in Ethereum after the merge, after what was going on there. So to me, that's a relative strength signal in the near term. Doesn't necessarily tell us where it'll be in 6 months. I mean, things could change, but at least in the near term, if Bitcoin starts to bounce, Ethereum doesn't have to fight back above that June low. Bitcoin now has to, right? So if we flip back, let me just show you, because this is a really good point that you're making. What I want to do here is I want to hide the Bitcoin or the Ethereum chart just for a second. And what you can basically see is, so you had, this is your June low, right? And basically at this stage, we put a line in there. That pivot low is now resistance for Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin rallies, let's say Bitcoin gets up to this level, it's going to have to fight through that low. Ethereum doesn't have to do that. So if we flip back to Ethereum here, here's your low down here. It doesn't have to fight through that low now. So again, this is more of a short-term kind of swing traders mentality, but at least in the short term, Ethereum would be the one that doesn't have as much resistance on the upside.
Millions of dollars of old cryptos have been converted to Ethereum by the FTX hacker. Does this uncertainty scare Gareth Soloway? Now, let's take a peek at the Bitcoin versus Ethereum chart by Gareth. This will be a comparison of those two assets to see what's a better buy in terms of them fluctuating against each other. Both assets seem to be bullish. It appears that Bitcoin is still a better buy because Ethereum probably has not had that capitulation-like moment yet. In comparison to Bitcoin that had more sell pressure, Gareth thinks that Ethereum has the aspect of what a security regulation is going to be. Bitcoin is a commodity, and Ethereum is going to be a security. There is a lot of politicians that are big fans of crypto that are aware that numerous jobs are dependent on crypto and Ethereum networks. These new rules may not disintegrate or decimate the crypto markets. Gareth believes that this information and those who are knowledgeable on this kind of rules will be the next catalyst for the next big bull run. I want to remind the politicians that while I see the need for some form of regulation, the fact remains that the year's financial disasters can be traced back to a single source: centralized banking. There is no more centralized stablecoin than Terra Luna. There is no other system more centralized than FTX, 3AC, etc. Those in political office should take this as food for thought. What do you think about Gareth Soloway's prediction on Ethereum price? Share your thoughts. If you find this video helpful and informative, please let us know in the comment section below. Please support us by showing your appreciation for this video and give us a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. If you want to be notified when we release a new video, click on the notification bell to be up to date on everything related to crypto and finance. That is it for today's video. This has been Diversified Streams. Thank you so much for tuning in, and see you in our next video.